Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. Okay, first up, rant alert, because I am about ready to go off on a complete rant on a study that came out today. I've been seeing it in the newspaper all day long, and it's from Harvard. Our buddies in Harvard decided that they were going to tell us all that eating meat at least twice a week, particularly processed meat, is going to give you type 2 diabetes. How in the world is that going to cause type 2 diabetes? This is what's so frustrating about the way our media works, the way the government works, these institutions, everything else, and how they are all geared against you. It is like they are deliberately trying to confuse the issue in the worst way possible to make sure that no one has any clue what in the world is really going on. I think it's part of an overall propaganda program to keep you eating human pet chow, to keep you eating their slop, saying, well, there's so many differences of opinion, who can know the truth? And you're going to throw up your hands and you're going to walk away from it and not give it the critical thought that it deserves. Why? Frankly, because every institution that you can imagine is all geared against you. Frankly, when it comes to trying to be healthy, you're all alone in this. You're it. You've got to be the arbiter of what's true or not, because you cannot trust the government, you cannot trust the media, and frankly, I don't think you can trust your doctor anymore, because they don't work for you anymore. They work for big insurance or they're employees of major health companies. Frankly, you're it. You're going to have to dig deep. It is strictly on you to figure out how this stuff works. And this is such a great case in point as to how the system doesn't work for you. Let's take this story from the Daily Mail. Great big headline right on the front page saying eating meat gives you type 2 diabetes. Now, they were very frank about this. They did not say they know the mechanism. They did not say how it happens. What they said is they saw an association. This is what the Harvard studies always do. They create an associational risk. And they keep claiming that, oh look, people that eat processed meat and processed meat more than twice a week are more likely to be diabetic. Oh really? Do you think people that eat hot dogs are the beacons of health? That's what a processed meat is. So if you're eating hot dogs a couple times a week, are you the real healthy, go-getter, exercise, don't smoke, don't drink type person? And Harvard always says, well, we realize that there's a healthy bias in this, and we've created a formula to confound that, to make sure that there's not these are not confounding variables. But they don't release that information. They don't explain how it works. Basically, they make it up. It's voodoo. It's nonsense. That's what's so wrong about these associational studies. Look at what they're saying. When you really dig into it, it's an association between what people report they're eating and a health outcome. But it doesn't show causality, because it makes no sense when you think about it. How can you get type 2 diabetes from eating meat, which doesn't increase your blood glucose, which doesn't increase your insulin level? That's what causes type 2 diabetes. Basically, it comes from eating sugar and ultra-processed foods. Now that is provable. That's not an associational risk. That is something that we can look at. I mean, we've tested it. You can see serious metabolic harms that happen when you eat ultra-processed food, when you eat a carb-rich diet. Your blood sugar goes up. Your fatty liver goes up. When you take it away, the fatty liver goes down. The blood sugar goes down. You don't require insulin anymore. You're no longer a type 2 diabetic. That's a mechanistic approach. That's provable. That's not an association. I mean, frankly, look, if you look at the studies that deal with associations, you're going to find all sorts of nonsense out there. You've got the today's study that somehow eating meat causes type 2 diabetes with no mechanism, no biological evidence. just a study where people said, well, we ate this and we looked at a bunch of numbers and we massaged the numbers to the point where we came up with this pretty good risk. They did not do a study. They looked at a bunch of numbers and they massaged the numbers and they cherry picked them until they could get the results they wanted. That's what that study said. You know how I know that? Because just a year ago, they put out another paper that said, you know what? There's not much of a link at all between eating meat and type 2 diabetes. Heck, there's another study that came out just a few years ago that really looked at meat and all the studies and found out, you know what? Frankly, there's absolutely zero risk of eating meat and diabetes or cardiovascular risk. Well, let's talk about diabetes risk in particular, because that's what this study and all the headlines talked about today. Is there a study out there that showed that if you go low carb, you're going to have lower diabetes? Maybe even reverse it. Maybe even get rid of it completely. Is there that study? Wouldn't that clarify things? Well, that study exists. Verta Health did it. They've been doing it now for years, where they've been tracking people that have been on a low-carb diet, that are in ketosis, that are eating meat, and they are reversing their type 2 diabetes. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is, they can show this is what we did, this is the dosage, this is the result, these are the people that are now free of it. That's science. That's provable. But see, this is a problem. You got big media who are funded by who? Big Food and Big Pharma. He who pays the piper calls the tune. And they're the ones that really push to get this story out. In today's story, the Harvard study comes out. And they're pushing that as gospel. And frankly, it's bunk. And the gutless reporters, or idiot reporters, I don't know which, frankly. I don't know if they're just, completely brainwashed to believe the propaganda that comes from the so-called experts, or if they are being told don't push it by bosses who have to look at the bottom line and how much money they get from Big Food and Big Pharma. But none of them did ask any hard questions. Nobody took the moment to just Google the results, because frankly, it's not hard. Even Google hasn't wiped out all the information. Within a couple minutes before I did this video, I took a couple minutes and said, okay, what's the studies? Four of them that completely contradict everything that came out in today's paper. Remember when reporters used to try to provide both sides of a story? Gosh, this guy says this. What do other scientists say? Now everybody, because of Fauci, in this post-COVID era that we live in, nobody wants to ever question the science because somehow it's sacrosanct. Well, it isn't sacrosanct. This isn't science. This is BS. Total Barbra Streisand nonsense. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. But unfortunately, it has an influence. The only thing that's going to counteract it is you. People that just do not buy into it, people that will push back, people that will start tweeting, putting it up on social media, people that will stay up and say, look, this is the biggest hunk of BS I've ever seen. And until the emperor said, we all know you're not wearing any clothes there, dude. They're going to keep on doing it. They're going to think they can get away with it. And frankly, I'm tired of it. Look, I followed their dietary advice. And I got up to 300 some odd pounds. Almost went blind. Then I quit listening to them. I started following what, and it wasn't easy. Frankly, it is never easy to go against the mainstream. To go keto, to go low carb, to eventually go carnivore. To have to be able to think for yourself, to take the preponderance of evidence, look at, this is what the preponderance of the evidence is saying. Then looking at other people's experiences. So it's not just me, but I'm looking at other people's experiences and going, yeah, they're having the same result. And then you try it yourself. That's how you know it's going to be true. But until you have the guts to do it, you are stuck being fat, stupid. Because look, over 80% of Americans are metabolically unhealthy. Go to Walmart, take a look around at the people shopping. How many metabolically healthy people do you see? How many people do you not see that are not grossly overweight? We've got a majority of our military, young men and women who should be at their peak of their physical performance. The majority of them are overweight or obese. Why? Because they're following the darn food pyramid because the government mandates it for the military. That's what controls what these kids eat, and as a result, they're getting overweight and just as unhealthy as the rest of the country. This is beyond reprehensible. And I really hope that you guys are going to have the guts to stand up. But first of all, it starts with you. I mean, look, we aren't going to save the world, but at least you can save yourself. Hopefully you can have some influence on your family. Hopefully you can get other people around you to start taking this stuff seriously. But until we do, we are stuck. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. If you like this message, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave comments down below. That tells the algorithm that there are people watching this, and it helps us to get the message out to more people. Because frankly, we need more voices out there that are talking about this type of stuff so that we can hold the forces of the media and the government and the education establishments accountable for their nonsense that they're pushing down our throats and killing us. I hope to talk to you soon.